Are you at a stage where you are comfortable doing single tooth dentistry and now would like to start treating complex restorative cases? Or you see those worn down cases and feel that it's far too complex to treat and worry about predictability and would like to know simple step-by-step protocol on how to do full mouth reconstruction? Or you have done certificate courses, diploma courses, or even MSCs, but struggle to implement that and you need someone to help you with implementation. If you have answered yes to any of those questions, then this is for you. Now, before I share with you my 3-step protocol to doing full mouth reconstruction, let me ask you a question: why you would like to learn full mouth reconstruction? And that could be because you might want to implement doing full mouth reconstruction, or you might want to learn because you want to diagnose more cases and refer those patients out. And both of the cases are true in the sense that even if you don't want to do full mouth reconstruction, you need to learn how to do full mouth reconstruction because then you can diagnose it properly. It's like many times my delegates, course delegate, come to me and say, Dev, I'm seeing more and more cases of full mouth reconstruction in my day-to-day practice. And I always tell them that the cases were there, it's just your thought process and your mindset has changed. It's similar to that great example of buying a car. Like many people who buy a car, they see the same car on the road a lot of time. Now everyone started buying the car at the same time. So the cars were there. It's just that their mindset or their eyes were open. And this is what you need to understand, that by knowing how to do full mouth reconstruction, you'll be able to diagnose more and more cases. So let me ask you this question. If this patient comes to you tomorrow in your practice, will you be able to do full mouth reconstruction for her? She wasn't happy with her smile, but her main complaint was sensitivity to drinking anything cold, or while she was eating, she was also feeling sensitivity. And what we did was full mouth reconstruction for her, adhesive direct full mouth reconstruction, following the 3-step protocol, which I'm going to share with you. And her smile and function was restored. And this case was done by Andrew Pitt. This was his first full mouth reconstruction course after he did the diploma in full mouth reconstruction course from me. And he said that his ability to move from single tooth dentistry to performing full mouth reconstruction would not have been possible without my course. And Dev it was hands-on during every single process or in every single step of the process, because what used to happen is he would do step 1, he will come to me and we'll discuss and we'll do mentoring, do step 2 and come back and we mentor. So it's a constant feedback loop, which is really important for implementation. He already had diploma in restorative dentistry, but he could not implement those skills into practice. So many times I see delegates who have had diplomas, certificates or MSCs but cannot implement them into practice, and this course allows them to start implementing what they've learned into practice. So you might be seeing cases such as this: broken down dentition or collapsed bite, or even edge-to-edge dentition with the severe wear. And these are the cases many times dentists feel afraid of treating because of predictability. They feel it's too far complex for them. And by following the protocol, I can assure you that this is not a complex case. You will be able to easily treat these cases. Now, one of the reasons you may want to learn full mouth reconstruction could be financial. And let's break it down, whether it's worth for you to invest your money and time in learning full mouth reconstruction. Now, let's say if you work 12 days a month, which is 3 days a week, seeing 15 patients a day, which would be around 180 patients a month. And if you even see 10% of these patients who may need full mouth reconstruction, that's 18 of them. And over 3 months, you will have around 54 patients who need full mouth reconstruction. Now, out of 54 patients, even if you say 1 of those patients says yes to the treatment, then it's 4 patients a year. Now, that's not a really bad math when you communicate properly with the patient. Out of 54 patients, 1 patient will say yes to your treatment, and that's 4 cases a year, and that's around £40,000 in sort of increased revenue in your practice when you're doing full mouth reconstruction. But the real reason why I want you to learn full mouth reconstruction, because you will look forward to helping patients, because you won't be afraid of seeing those wear dentition cases. You will spend less time doing dentistry, and that means you will avoid burnout. And this is something I learned very later on in my life, because I love dentistry. So I thought I could go on doing 7 days a week dentistry and I would never get tired. And guess what? I did get burnt out. And I don't want you to get burnt out. So make sure that you have balance between work and other activities so that you can spend more time with your family. And this is my reason for upskilling my skills, so that I can spend more time with my son, my wife, my family. So make sure that you really write down what is your why when you're doing full mouth reconstruction. Now, there are reasons why people want to do full mouth reconstruction but not being able to do full mouth reconstruction. I've heard lots of reasons, and one of the major reasons is the fear of failure. They feel that, oh, I don't know occlusion, I'm going to fail, I don't know how to raise OVD, the treatment will fail. There are lots of things relate to fear of failure. If someone says you got 100% chance of this case going successful, everyone will be doing full mouth reconstruction. There are also fear of litigation, especially in UK. It's a very litigious society, and we need to be really careful, and that's why we really teach you how to be careful dental legally. And I call in dental legal expert every year to share with you how to be safe when you're doing full mouth reconstruction. But many times people have fear of dental legal consequences, and many of the dentists, they still feel that full mouth reconstruction is for specialists only. Now, I am not a specialist. I mean, I do everything related to dentistry. I do full mouth reconstruction, I do fixed ortho, removable ortho, I do periodontal treatment, I do full arch implants. Apart from zygomatic implants and pterygoid implants, I do all type of implants and everything related to dentistry. But I'm not a specialist. So you don't certainly need to be a specialist when you're doing full mouth reconstruction. However, to satisfy GDC, you do need a structured course in order to do full mouth reconstruction. And many times dentists say, I don't have enough money to learn. Now, this is something I am not sure of, because when you learn full mouth reconstruction, it's such a high value treatment. You just need to do maybe one or two cases and you will get your money back. So this is something, it's not related to full mouth reconstruction, but this is something I hear many times from the dentist as well. So again, write down what is your what are your full mouth reconstruction prevention officers, so then you know what you need to tackle. And if you need my help, let me know. Now, before I go ahead, let me tell you who I am. My name is Dr. Devang Patel, and I am known as the FMR guy because I've been teaching full mouth reconstruction for 10 years, and I've been doing full mouth reconstruction for over 15 years. So I started my career with doing my master's from UCL in conservative dentistry. It was a 1-year full-time course, and I really had to work 7 days a week doing lots of laboratory work. As soon as I finished my crown prep, I would pour the model and make the crown myself. So I did a lot of lab work, which I learned a lot of skills when I was doing lab work. It was hard work. But when I finished my MSc, I was at the sky high, and I thought, I've learned everything. When I came to private practice, I realized that hospital and private practice, they work completely differently. And I had to develop my own protocol. Meanwhile, I learned from Pascal Magnier, Frank Spear, John West. So Pascal Magnier is a bonding guru, Frank Spear is a occlusion guru, John West is an endodontist. He was endodontist of United States of America, president of the United States of America. I've learned from Didier Dietschy how to do sort of beautiful composites. I learned perio from these two guys from Munich, Otto Zer and Markus Hasler. And I've learned autogenous bone grafting or block grafting from Professor Khoury himself, who invented the Khoury technique. Now, I've learned all that. That one slide is probably around £350,000. It was a lot of expensive courses. And now I teach. I teach at Eastman Hospital, King's Hospital, and BSMS University, and I run my own courses. On top of that, I've written 2 books on A, full mouth reconstruction, and B, how to restore implant restorations. My full mouth reconstruction book and implant book, they both are Amazon bestseller. And one thing I've got from reviews from the people who have read the book is that how I simplified full mouth reconstruction. That's my hope, that whatever I teach, I simplify it so simply that my 11-year-old kid can understand. So how I'm doing full mouth reconstruction, how I'm teaching full mouth reconstruction, I am helping everyone else to implement how to do full mouth reconstruction, not just give the knowledge. As I said, knowledge is like a paint, you know, until you apply it, it's just not worth it. Many people would do diploma and certificate courses but cannot implement. I had, you know, Nimi come to me and she said, I'm not experienced enough, and she was struggling, did not feel enough experience, you know, she was struggling with the treatment planning cases, and she thought it would take her 2 years to learn full mouth reconstruction. And this was just after 3 months from being in the course. This is, she sent just before and after photos. You know, it's just my first full mouth reconstruction completed. And the photos are not great, and you can tell that this is her first time doing this. And this is what I really get joy from, that dentists doing their first full mouth reconstruction, they didn't even thought that they would be able to do it. And as I say, the journey of the 1,000 miles begins with the first step. So let's look at the 3-step protocol on full mouth reconstruction. So I've broken down my adhesive, simple, direct full mouth reconstruction into 3 steps. Step number 1 is treatment planning, and that's really crucial when it comes to doing full mouth reconstruction. You need to make sure that you take maximum amount of time doing treatment planning. Most of my failures I've had happened was due to my poor treatment planning, not because of the skills. You will reach at a level where you can do bonding quite easily. You can do single crown. If you can do 1 crown, you can do 28 crowns. There is no rocket science into that. It's really planning the treatment. So you need to first mount the model. To mount the model, you need to take face bore records. And this is one of the tips that make sure that when you take a face bore record, you only take indentation of the teeth. Don't make sure the teeth doesn't get squeezed into the bite fork, and this happens quite easily if you use bite registration material. If you have used bite registration material, which I use as well, make sure it's a hard bite registration material, not a soft one, and make sure it's thick enough so you can trim it, because inevitably you're going to get fissures into your bite registration material. Now, I always tell people that, you know, what they do is they put the model on a bite fork and say, oh, Dev, it's seating fine. Now, if I tell you that, tell me if my fingers are touching my palm of my other hand, you can't really tell until I show you like this, and then it's not touching, if that makes sense. So you need to really have very shallow indentation so you can really see the cusp tips are touching your bite fork. And that's the reason you want this. Once that's done, you're going to record CR. And I always tell people, like, you know, what's wrong with this slide? And the reason there is something wrong with this slide is I've used bite registration material for my CR record. Now, this is not the right type of material for this type of OVD. You need to make sure that you have at least 2 millimeter space when you're using bite registration material, because it's so flimsy, even the hard ones, that these, when you take it out, it'll just flap about. If you have less than 2 millimeter OVD rays, then you need to use something called Moico Beauty Wax, which is this pink wax, which is hard at room temperature. It's not a normal modeling wax. It's a Moico Beauty Wax. It's a hard wax at a room temperature. You can break it. And that's something you can use when you have less than 2 millimeter of OVD raised. If you have more than 2, then you can get away with using bite registration material. So in this case here, patient came to us and someone did full mouth reconstruction for this patient a year ago. You can't even see much, but that's what patient said, and you know, all the composite broken down. So we mounted the model and then assessed how much OVD we want to raise, and I did wax up. I do all my analog wax up myself because it just gives me an idea as to how much OVD to raise, and you know, the shapes and everything when I'm building. So I'd like to do my own digital and now the analog wax up as well. And one thing many people make mistake when doing wax ups is that the palatal ramp. So if you can see the incorrect version, this is what you're going to get most of the time from technicians when you get the wax up back, because that's what the natural teeth look like. However, when we are doing full mouth reconstruction, we want to make sure that the wax up is where it says correct. You know, you have a small ramp. Now there are 2 reasons for the ramp. One is that if you want the forces of the lower teeth at long axis of the at the axis of the upper anterior teeth, so it's parallel to the root. And if you don't have that, there is a risk that the teeth will start splaying up, so they will move out. However, I haven't noticed that unless you're treating periodontally compromised teeth. It rarely happens. It can happen, but it rarely happens. The reason I want platform is because I can get shallow protrusive guidance. I don't want steep guidance. If I have a steep guidance, when patient's functioning, the envelope of function will get constricted and they will start hitting the teeth. Okay, so we don't really want that. We want shallow guidance. So this ramp will allow me to give shallow guidance to the patient, so then there are less chances of patient breaking their dentition. Once I've mastered once I finalize my wax up, I'm going to do a mock-up, and this is really important stage. We're going to do mock-up and we're going to assess patient's smile, bite, whether the patient has any pain, can the patient tolerate. Speech, yes, you can assess. The problem is patient most of the time start lisping because you made this platform. And you need to just reassure patient that they will get better. However, if they don't, be prepared to reduce the thickness of the platform. There is no other way, because I mean, however, I've done, I don't know, if I've done 200 cases, probably once I had to really reduce it down, so that I have to change occlusion, but most of the time patient will be fine. Just tell them that it'll take 2-3 months. Ask them to read out loud, to start speaking more, sort of practicing speech, and that will help as well. Now that's step 1 done, and once that's done, you have not damaged any of the teeth yet. So at this point patient says, oh, this is too thick, I don't like it. You just take the mock-up away, and then that's it. You stopped. You haven't done irreversible treatment. Now there is one exception where patient has got thicker crown and you're going to reduce the bulk. Then obviously you can't do mock-up in a reductive wax up, but most of the time, I would say 90% of the time, you're going to add on to patient's existing teeth, because it's many times it's a rare cases. In those cases, because you're going to add on, you're not going to have to drill anything in order to do a mock-up. And we do mock-up by using putty impression and using your crown and bridge material. Step 2 is anterior buildup. Now this is a very controversial among some of the people, because many times people have been taught, including me, that we need to start doing posterior buildup first. So basically build the posterior teeth, open the bite, and then restore the front teeth. And that seems logical. However, there is a problem with that, because when you do posterior buildup first, you don't have a control of how much anterior buildup you're going to need. And to counter that, people would say, Dev, because we're doing diagnostic wax up, we know final results, so we can just do the posterior first and then anterior later. Yes, you can, but what if patient doesn't like, their length of the teeth, front teeth? Now you've done the full mouth reconstruction, they don't like the front teeth, but you've done already the back teeth. So that's why I prefer the anterior teeth first, because it's easier to adjust. Patient can get used to it, the bite and everything. If you want to change your OVD, you just need to reduce 6 spots. You have 6 contact points on the front 6 teeth. You just need to reduce those 6 contact points and then you're done. And it's easier for condyles to seat back. So let's say you've done CR record, for some reason it's not perfect. When you do anterior reconstruction, you're basically building inbuilt Lucia jig. And that helps patient to sort of retrude that mandible back and get used to before you're doing posterior reconstruction. So this patient, had a tooth wear, and it's a compromised case because he had implant bridge at the back, upper left 2 was implant as well, and he didn't want me to touch them. So, but we still needed to restore his teeth. So we restored the lower teeth and then the upper. And the way we do lower teeth first and then the upper is because we want to set the height of the lower teeth, make sure we are happy, patient's happy, and then whenever we need to adjust any occlusion, we use the upper palatal, because the upper palatal is up and down, doesn't really matter, but the lower teeth needs to be straight, otherwise aesthetically it won't look nice. So that's your step 2 completed, and you need to just check, make sure that you have a canine guidance on lateral guidance, and protrusive, you have your lateral centrals and laterals contacting. Once that anterior step 2 is done, now you need to restore your posterior teeth from there to there. And then you need to do posterior reconstruction. So here again, posterior teeth have worn down, and we've done posterior reconstruction using stemp technique. So we use Exacclear stent and make a stemp technique to restore the posterior teeth. And once that's done, once all the full mouth reconstruction done, we need to give patient protection. My go-to guide is Michigan splint. If patient have had ortho, then you can give patient dual arch B splint in order to do so retain the orthodontic teeth. And in very rare cases, you can give them soft mouth guard, but I generally don't tend to give them soft mouth guard because they tend to sometimes grind more with the soft mouth guard. Worst case, you can just give them Essex retainer, upper and lower, and that generally helps. So this patient again came for a checkup. She wasn't happy with her front teeth, but you can see that apart from the front teeth, there is a other major issue going on. She only had money to do the upper anterior, upper arch. So, you know, upper arch reconstruction was done, and lower arch just a composite. Upper arch reconstruction done was with the indirect, and lower arch was done with just doing composite as a temporary measure. And this case was done by one of my mentee, Tom Mann. This is again was his first full mouth reconstruction case, and you know, he said the Dev's FMR course has been the best investment in dentistry that I've been made to date. The knowledge I gained allowed me to offer full mouth rehabilitation, and also hugely benefited my everyday routine dentistry. And this is something many people realize after they've done full mouth reconstruction, that how easy it becomes to do your day-to-day routine dentistry, and how much easy it is to do quadrant dentistry. By learning full mouth reconstruction, anything else becomes really easy. So what more? If you want more, and if you really like the philosophy and my teaching and my protocol, 3-step protocol, and want to really understand much more in detail, then I would like to invite you to my FMR course in 2026. I'm running a full mouth reconstruction course on 14th of March 2026. I do once a year. I've been doing it for every year, once a year, this course. I am going to go through more in detail the step-by-step protocol of the full mouth reconstruction. I'll share with you how to raise OVD and factors to consider when raising OVD. Both digital and analog full mouth reconstruction protocol I will share with you, because there are some small nuances between digital and analog, and now we'll be going towards more digital dentistry, and I think everyone should learn how to do digital FMR. I will share with you how that differs from analog and where you need to use analog full mouth reconstruction. I will discuss with you factors to consider when you're doing treatment planning, and this is something I tell all my delegates, that treatment planning is like a fingerprint. You know, when you're planning, every case is different. But many delegates ask me like, Dev, what are you thinking when you are planning cases? So I've jotted down some factors to consider when doing treatment planning, and I'll share with you those factors with you. Fee setting, it's really important to have a list of things you need to consider when you're setting fees. Otherwise, if you forget, later on, if you increase the fees, it's not really goodwill. It's not really a good way to do it. I tend not to increase my fees. Even if I've forgotten something, I just do it for free, because I don't think it's fair on patient that they committed to certain amount and then you change price later on just because you've forgotten. And I'll be discussing cases, sharing some failures with you, what kind of things I've learned from my own failures, and much more. So you're going to get that, plus 5 of my previous delegates are going to share with you their first full mouth reconstruction cases and the trouble they had, how they overcome, how they navigated this. So they're going to share with you this, and this will be, you'll be able to ask them questions because they've done it for the first time, and they may have asked the same question which you're going to ask them. So it will be really fun exercise and good to learn from them. I'm going to give you also my communication course for free. This is really important too when you are doing any complex cases, because you know, having skill is different, but getting cases accepted is completely different. If you have a skill but patient's not saying yes to your treatment, then that skill is of no good. I'm also going to give you my introduction to photography course for free as well, because again, photography and communication go hand in hand. And when you are doing treatment planning and if you want some opinion, you need to be able to take good photographs. So the total value of the course is £1,599. However, to help everyone out, I capped the fees to £225. Now, this on its own is value for money. Even if you just get a communication course, which is more than £225, so you're going to get much more value for money when you join and come to see me teaching you how to do full mouth reconstruction. Now, if you are planning to book the tickets now, then you're going to benefit from early bird discount. So you're only going to pay £95 instead of £225. So if you want to book now, then click on the link below and register yourself for full mouth reconstruction course 2026. And once I hit the number, there is a limited seats, because I want to make sure that there is not more than a required number, so I can really pay attention and in teaching. So don't wait till last minute. Click on the link below and book the tickets, and I'll see you there.
My name is Ola Lawson and I'm a dentist. Well, I work in general practice and I see a lot of complicated cases, and I booked this course to get a better understanding of how to manage these cases myself.
It's been so much fun listening to Dev. He's such a brilliant speaker. I really enjoyed listening about his journey into doing these courses and all of his background, as well as the learning from the actual topic.
Before this course, I was really thinking full mouth reconstruction is way beyond my remit, but now I think there is help available. Dave is really approachable, and it seems like it's doable.
I thought it was a very, very well organized, phenomenal day so far. It's been done very, very professionally, very, very helpful from the perspective, everything's laid out in very clear language for people to understand.
I really like his teaching style. He breaks it down really simply, back to basics, doesn't try to overcomplicate it, and that's really what I was here for today, was to go back to basics and break things down.
I thought it was really good having a kind of a process, a step-by-step process, kind of clearing away all the background noise and making it kind of easy and practical.
Yeah, definitely, it's highly recommended. I think it's a full worth your money, and also it has good value in it. So if you want to attend for the day, he'll go through different kind of cases, and also I think it was really good to see one of his mentees to come and actually explain how the course was when he does the mentorship, and the explanation of the cases.